This is genius. Wow. Have your fuel cards been compromised lately? I don't care if you're a company driver, an owner operator, a lease operator, or even a small fleet owner or a large fleet owner. You need to be made aware of what's happening in our industry when it comes to fuel card fraud. So first we need to understand how are people committing fuel card fraud. Here are the most common scams when it comes to fuel cards. Number one, card cloning. Scammers install skimmers at fuel pumps in order to get your card details. Not only do they get the detail of your card number, but they also get the pins. So be careful with this. The second thing that they do is they put out fake card readers. So fraudulent devices disguising as fuel card readers to collect the data. So they'll overlap something, they'll put something where you put your card inside, you put your pin, they will read the pin and they will get all your information. The third thing is internal theft. So there's a lot of busts happening with employees misusing companies' issued fuel cards. So somehow the employee inside the office is in on it. The fourth thing, very popular, is fuel diversion. Okay, drivers fill up personal vehicles or sell fuel bought with company cards. So he'll pull up to the station or somebody else will pull up to the station. He'll put his fuel card and he'll sell the fuel for much cheaper. Let's say he'll put $500 in somebody else's tank. The guy will pay him $300 for it. It's a win-win situation for everybody. Fifth thing, account takeover. So hackers gain access to online fuel card accounts and change the settings. So you know those phishing emails that come into the office? Sometimes these are phishing emails for your accounts. They want to get your passwords and they're going to change the settings and lock you out of your own fuel cards. Pump tampering. Scammers install Bluetooth enabled devices that intercept card data. So this is a new one. This is genius. Wow. Ghost transactions. So this also you see sometimes in your fuel statement, you'll see that somehow your truck filled up somewhere. The truck was never there. Very hard to pick up on it unless you're really monitoring your fuel. But if somebody charges your card $300-400 every single month, most likely it's going to go unnoticed unless you're really monitoring your fuel. But fraudulent charges appear on fuel that never actually gets purchased. So next thing is inflated fuel invoices. Some fuel stations charge more than what the pump price. So the pump price would say, I don't know, $3 a gallon, but they're actually charged $3.29 a gallon. So it's very hard to pick up on that. And then you have the last thing, which is double swiping. So attendants will swipe the card twice. They'll charge the same transaction twice. And then if somebody ever calls back for it, they'll, oh, sorry, we charged the card twice. Red flags to watch out for. So if you guys, unexpected charges, small authorization fuel purchases that increase over time. So what do? So first of all, they'll charge your card $300-400, see if they get away with it. Then they'll charge you $400-500, see if they get away with it. Then they'll charge $500-600, and they'll continue to charge the account that much money. These are unexpected charges, but they start off with small unauthorized fuel purchases that increase over time. Next thing to watch out for, red flags, irregular fueling patterns, refueling at multiple times a day or at odd locations. So I know what we do here is we have limits for how many gallons they can fill up in one day. But if somebody filled up 100 gallons, then another 50 gallons, and another 100 gallons, the system allows up to 300 gallons per day. If you don't have these measures in place, then somebody else could be filling up on your behalf. Higher than normal fuel consumption. So you need to know your fuel consumption. You need to know that rate per mile, that cost per mile. If you don't know about your rate per mile and cost per mile, I've created a course that you're more than welcome to take. It talks to you about all about the break-even points. It talks to you about the cost per mile. But if you don't know your cost per mile, if all of a sudden it jumps about 10-15 cents and you're not aware of what your cost per mile is, then you're not going to notice it. But if you do know your cost per mile, if you know that it costs you $1.70 to run that truck, and all of a sudden in 1 month it costs you $1.85 to run that truck, well, there's a red flag and you might have some fuel purchases. So it would be higher than normal fuel consumption. Another thing you should look out for is transactions at unusual locations. So you know that you fill up at BVD or Love's or Flying J, and then if you see, transactions at much smaller locations, then those could be red flags. Now also decline transaction from fraud alerts. So be careful if that card gets declined, you get an email notification, somebody trying to use your card, okay? So how do these scammers get your information, okay? Most common way that they get your information is that they're using hidden cameras to steal your pins. So there's a camera somewhere when you're filling up, you're putting in your pin, they have your card number, you're putting in your pin. That's how they steal your pin and your information. Second thing is inside the store, corrupt employees taking pictures of cards or the receipts. So they have the card numbers, they want those pins. Next is data breaches. Fuel card providers or trucking companies getting hacked. So it could be that you're 100%, but your fuel card provider, somebody or an employee over there, is stealing information. The last thing is social engineering. Scammers pretend to be from fuel card companies, tricking drivers or staff. So you'll get a fake phone call, or you'll get, an email to the office, and they're pretending to be from the fuel card company. How do we prevent fuel card scams, guys? So yes, there's certain things that you can do in order to try to minimize somebody hacking you or scamming you. So number one is you use the chip enabled cards. That reduces the risk of scammers. Number two, enable fuel limits. Make sure you have fuel limits per day, just like we have here. So not only do a daily limit, do a weekly limit also, and do a per transaction limit. The third thing, use station specific cards. So limited purchases to approved locations. Monitor transactions daily. This is where we go wrong. We go wrong as owner operators, company drivers, fleet owners, lease operators. You need to monitor your transactions daily. Not just know what you filled up, but actually look at the statement daily. Okay? Spot fraudulent charges early. When you spot it early, you can do something about it. Use mobile alerts. So set your fuel card to give you an alert on your phone. So when you fill up, you get a notification that you filled up. So if somebody's using your card, right away you can call and you can claim it as fraud. Implement PIN and ID verification requirements. So PIN or driver IDs for transactions. Not only do you have a PIN number, but you have an ID number for a driver for those fleets. That would help. That's what we have here. So you have a PIN and you also have the ID verification number, which is required for the transaction. The next thing that you can do in order to prevent fuel card scams is train drivers on fuel card security. Educate them on scams. Let them know that this stuff is happening, and that's why I'm creating this video out there, so you guys know that this is happening a lot. There's a ton of double brokering happening there and loads getting hijacked, but this is next level. Next, choose high traffic, well-lit fuel stations. Avoid sketchy, low traffic locations. The next thing is cover the keypad when entering your PIN. So as you approach, cover that keypad. So if there is a camera that's recording that your PIN is hidden. Rotate or change fuel cards regularly. So this is probably something that we all should do and we don't do, is that you should be changing your fuel cards regular. So if you're a larger fleet, just like you get new plates every single year, you should be ordering brand new fuel cards with fuel pins every single year for your drivers and hand them out probably when you give out those plates. All right, so what do you do if you suspect fraud? Number one, freeze or cancel the card immediately. Prevent further charges. Number two, report to the fuel card provider that may reimburse you unauthorized transactions. Number three, check all transactions, identify suspicious pattern or past fraud. Number four, alert drivers and staff. Ensure no one else falls for the scam. So make sure you tell people in your office, let them know. Number five, file a police report if necessary, especially for larger transactions. Now, if you go back in the history and you see that somebody stole, 40, 50 different transactions, then obviously put in a police report. And the last thing that you can do is update your security measures. If it was an internal scam, revise company policies. So sometimes it's not the people out there stealing, sometimes it could be within your organization. Again, fuel is fleet owners' second biggest expense after driver pay. So it's a big ticket item. There's a lot of transactions, very, very hard to spot, small transactions, but obviously can be done. Now, if you have any stories around fuel card scams that you'd like to share with us, please guys, leave the comments down below. I'm Ronan and I'll catch you in my next video.